not here to rant or to really even debate. I'm more questioning things. I don't know if you'd call me an atheist or agnostic, but been free of religious dogma for a couple years now. And when I started out, I was sort of reluctant to let some things go. But when you start to ask the questions and research a little bit, things become obvious, especially whenever you're looking at the rhetoric in the Bible and what you find in Christian churches. It's easy to get rid of things based on the fact that they're either immoral or implausible. Mm-hmm. But I was wondering if at any point, or still maybe now, you guys struggle with this same thing when it comes to what I view as like the most ultimate question, which is sort of the origins of everything. And do you still ponder whether or not there is something transcendent or that transcends the physical? I don't have a strong enough scientific literacy to understand the current model for the origins of the universe. And I don't like to just take Lawrence Krauss's word for it that nothing can come from something. Something can come from nothing, rather. Yeah. So I guess, do you guys still, in the back of your minds, I don't understand how you bridge the gap from agnostic to atheist. How do you get a firm...
Sure. So, yeah, agnostic and atheist are actually not mutually exclusive, right? Agnosticism is a knowledge claim, and atheism is just the rejection of the assertion that a God exists. So I am an agnostic atheist, right? I reject the claim that a God exists, but I'm not saying that I have all of the knowledge either. And you can have agnostic Christians, you can have Gnostic Christians. I haven't met very many Gnostic atheists, though, have you?
I might fall into that category depending on how people define it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let's get your view on it. What do you think?
I don't believe a God exists to the same level, the same degree, and for the same reasons I don't believe that fairies exist. And so if a person thinks that that would qualify me as a Gnostic atheist, then I would be a Gnostic atheist. I would tend to then say that most folks are inconsistent if they're going to say that fairies don't exist, but a God does, or a God could. If they're willing to come down solid for other claims that are unsubstantiated and unsubstantiatable, at least current with what we've got currently, I don't understand why they would suddenly change the metric for themselves when it comes to a God. So I always say it's to this degree, and then how other people want to label that is up to them. So if they say, you know, if there's a person who says, I'm not comfortable saying that fairies don't exist, I tend to kind of think, okay, then you're in a minority of people, and I think most folks would say that you're taking it to a philosophical extreme, because most of us would say that something about which many people have invented stories, you know, known to be created a lot of fiction, whatever. But that's my position. And for you, Charlie, I guess what I would ask is, do you hold it as true that a God exists?
No.
Okay, then you're an atheist.
Not necessarily, but there's things, these big questions.
And that's fine. That's what Eric's describing as an agnostic atheist. Basically, there's a lot of stuff I don't know, but right now I am not convinced that a God exists. So that's what makes him the atheist.
Like any description that's been given to me by any particular religion, especially Christianity, is just obviously false.
Most people are atheists because at this point they either have not thought about it much at all, or they have, you know, considered it and rejected, like you're saying, the current God claims. Just they don't see any reason at this point in their lives to believe that a God exists.
Right.
And as far as the origin questions, though, you were asking, like, you know, what about the? To me, it's sort of a don't know, don't care. I mean, somebody else might say to me, doesn't it bother you that you don't know what's at the ocean floor? Like, no, not really. I don't, you know. But if we made up a God that, you know, created weird things on the ocean floor, and a lot of people believed it, just as well, because they could go around claiming God is involved in all number of things that I don't have insight into, that a person could then say, well, what about that? You know, and so yeah, the idea of the origins of the universe, like when I came into the show today, I have, like, for example, a pot of chicken that is halfway cooking on the stove, and I had to turn it off to come down today and do this because I'm in the middle of like doing food prep and stuff back at home. And to me, making sure that I get home in time to finish the food prep is like a more important question than how the universe came to exist, right? That it's not that pressing to me.
And if it is, if that's something that really, really does bother you, if it's something that you spend a lot of time thinking about, and I don't know. And I mean, when you talk about origins, right, you're talking about the origin of the universe. When it comes to the origin of the universe, we can talk about what people have investigated up until this point, but we don't have all of the info. We can talk about the origin of life on Earth, and we don't have a lot of info, and we don't know specifically. We have working models, we have ideas of what it could be, but abiogenesis is something that we haven't figured out. But that doesn't mean that it gives us evidence for a specific claim. All it is I don't know.
Yeah, and with the implications, I guess, to me the idea is would the implications change? So for example, if somebody did discover, you know, some sort of real convincing evidence that a God created the universe, would I still have to pay my mortgage? Yes. So it doesn't matter to me. If there was something else compelling, but right now, like you're saying, all the God claims I'm aware of, there's nothing compelling that would change the way I live my life. Other than I would probably shift my focus from I don't believe your God exists to your God is pretty crappy and nobody should be worshiping it in many cases. So I certainly wouldn't, it certainly wouldn't change things about how I go about my life.
Does that help kind of clarify the position of atheist and where we stand? And I'm kind of interested, where do you stand on it now after kind of talking a bit about it?
Probably exactly where he was before.
Charlie?
Is Charlie there? Did we lose Charlie?
I think we might have lost Charlie.
Oh, it says he's still on the air.
Yeah, no, we're going to move
Hello,
on in
Charlie.
3. Charlie, 2.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, well, you know, we had a huge lightning, thunder.
There was a big
through.
thunderclap.
So I'm kind of nervous to see if any of the lines are going.
And it wasn't at any sort of, you know, coincidental nexus in time about what we were talking to. It's too bad, too, because it would have been very funny if I don't believe there is a God.
Well, you know, we actually had that when we had Hamish on the line, and he said, the Lord struck down the line.